A very warm welcome to this edition of Times Exclusive on Times Network. My name is Brian Banda. Glad you could join us. In this edition of the program, I'm privileged and honored to have the Right Honorable Atupele Muluzi, President of the United Democratic Front, UDF. Tikutero kuti malo mwa ife tonse kuno ku Times headquarters tukulandirani program imeneyi ya Times Exclusive. Ndachitika mwayi kwambiri ndili ndi President wa chipani cha United Democratic Front UDF olemekezeka Bambo Atupele Muluzi. Mr. President, thank you very much for joining us. Feel free to speak Chichewa or English for our listeners. Koma mwina tiyambe Chichewa mukunena kuti tikulandireni madzulo ano pano pa Times.
Ndathokoza kwambiri Brian komanso ndinothokoza kwambiri kuti ndapatsidwa mpata kuti ndibwere pa Times Exclusive makamaka pamene mabwerera ndikosangalala kwambiri ngati pani ma program amene ndimaonera kwambiri the Times Exclusive.
Ndathokoza kwambiri. Tikukumana, this is your major first interview chiponyere ni masankho. Your thoughts on those nullified elections?
I think that we've gone through a difficult path. Tadutsa nyengo yovuta kwambiri ngati dziko la Malawi. Monga mukudziwa kuti tikupita ku chisankho tinaona zinthu zodabwitsa kwambiri zimene zakhala zikuchitika mdziko muno. Makamaka nkhani ya makhalidwe, chikhalidwe cha Malawi. We have lost part of our values, where we've seen anthu ndithu kutembenukana, kusalemekezana, titsegule ma WhatsApp amene kuona ma message otukwana, kunyozana, chikhalidwe chimene china chachi chimene chabweretsa kuti tisakhale amodzi ngati mene tinalili kale, tikuzovomereza kuti Amalawi takawitana. Nde izi zikusonyeza kuti pali zinthu zifukwa zimene zikupangitsa kuti zinthu zimene zibwere zichitike mdziko muno. There is an underlying undercurrent that is taking place in our country. Yes, nkhani ya chisankho ni nkhani ina, but there is also an underlying problem that we need to address.
Which is?
In Malawi.
Which is?
I think that the challenge, vuto lalikulu limene ilipo mdziko muno, is that Malawians have lost hope in the future. Malawi akudandaula kwambiri kuti zinthu sizikuyenda, akudandaula makamaka nkhani ya tsankho, akudandaula nkhani yakatangale. There are deep-rooted issues that we must address as a nation. So koyamba okhala ndi zisankho zimene sizinayende bwino. Mukumbukiranso kuti mu 2014 ndinayima nawo pa mpando wa president kati mwatsogozera chipani cha UDF, ndinabwera poyera kuti nthawi imene jaso sizinayende mene timaganizira kuti ziyende pa chisankho chimenechi. Kuonesa kuti chisankho chimakhalapo ndithu zimasokonekera, koma ulendo uno ndikuona kuti pali zinthu zina zimene zikubwera pakati pathu ngati mpingo wa Malawi zimene tiyenera kukamba. Ife ngati chipani cha UDF tinalandira chigamulo cha constitutional court pamene tikudikira kuti tibwerezenso chisankho chosankha president wa dziko la Malawi. Komanso tikudziwa kuti pali mavuto akulu amene tikukumana nawo ngati mtundu wa Malawi.
Chifanyani simunapite ku court kukamang'ala ngati mene anachitira achipani cha Malawi Congress komanso UTM?
Ku 2014 tikumbukire 2014 tinaliso ndi mavuto nthawi chisankho sitinapite ku court. Chaka chapitachi tikudziwa kuti nali mavuto chisankho chimene chinalipo sitinapite ku court. Court izikhala chomaliza, chinthu the last resort. That's when you go to court. Komanso titawonika bwinobwino chisankho tinaona kuti chisankhochi panali zinthu zambiri zimene zinalakwika koma singanene kuti analakwitsa uje ndizovuta. Even the judgment itself does not really pinpoint exactly who did what.
No, they are saying the Malawi Electoral Commission they were incompetent in handling the elections.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a judgment. But I'm saying it does not point a finger at any particular party.
No, it's
or
pointing
individual.
fingers. It's pointing fingers at Malawi Electoral Commission.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's why if there's a process in court, we waited. Let's wait for the process to be concluded. Let's wait for the determination. Of the
Yeah, but my question is, why did you not join MCP and UTM if you believe that there were some issues that were not handled very well in those elections?
When you want to go to court, kupita ku court umainokhala ndi maumboni. So you have to have the evidence to say this is exactly what happened, and you want to seek redress in the courts. If IUDF ndisakunamize maumboni tinalibe. Tinadziwa kuti there were some irregularities pa zambiri zimene zinachitika.
Yeah.
Monga mene ndapereka chitsanzo sikoyamba kuti ine ngati mene ndikuyima pa mpando wa president fikisana presidential election kukumana ndi mavuto pa nkhani ya chisankho 2014 tinapikisana tinaonanso mavuto nthawi imeneyo koma sindinapita ku court. Mwina mukanandifunsanso kuti 2014 chifukwa chani simunapita ku court, 2019 chifukwa chani simunapita ku court. Taona ndithu mu Africa muno zisankho zimenenso mbuyomu ena ananena kuti sizinayende bwino koma amayang'ana chisankho chinacho because umayang'ananso kuti this is not the last election, there's another election ahead of you. Koma zimatengeranso kuti ngati muli ndi maumboni okwanira nde ife pamene ndikoza kunena Brian tinadziwa kuti panali zambiri zowonongeka koma sitinakhale ndi umboni weniweni umene tikoza kutenga ku court.
So chisankho chitachitika and the results were out, munapezeka kuti masowa mdziko muno. What happened?
One thing that must be understood in Malawi is that Malawians have a dream of a better Malawi. If andale amene tili mdali mdziko muno ineyo angati mtsogoleri wa ndale, my priority ndikuonetsetsa kuti we have a better Malawi. It is a dream, it is my dream. It's the Malawian dream. It's a dream of my generation, the dream of young people to see a better Malawi. Chitangochitika chisankho ndimazifunsa kodi zimene zikusokonekera mdziko mwathu ndi chani. Why are we failing to develop? What is making Malawi not develop? Zimene zikufuna ndi chani. It's not about elections, it's beyond elections. We have to look at the problem. Tikaoneka bwinobwino maiko amene achita bwino in our lifetime. Monga mukudziwa kuti chaka pakali palomba ndi zaka 41. Tikangana mbuyo 41 years ago, dziko la China linali osauka kuposa Malawi. Malawi's GDP was ahead of China. 41 years. Titati my president matema awiri, my president 4. Kutanthauza kuti from being a very poor country within 41 years, they have now transformed the economy to be the second largest economy in the world within our lifetime. Then ndimafunsa amenewa ndimafunitsitsa kuti ndimvetsetse kuti China zinatheka bwanji. Taona kuti nkhani yayikulu imene inapangitsa kuti iwo afike imene ali pano ni nkhani ya khalidwe, their values, maintaining their values. Mavalue athu ngati Malawi imene ndalankhulira pano, they are eroding very fast. Dziko ngati ilibe khalidwe, chikhalidwe, values, dziko limenelo singapanga achieve economic prosperity. Taona ni tsiku lalero mene tikudziwa ngati fa Malawi. Kupezeka wina wapanga ngozi pa galimoto, tukajambula chithunzi kuika pa social media. Malamuti tamaiko kuti kathandize. Nzathu ali pa mavuto, tukujambula zithunzi kuika pa social media. Nzathu akakhala kuti wachitimirane pa galimoto, malamuti tipite tikathandize kukanka galimoto ichi, timahamba kunena kuti muli pasachani. My values athu, we are losing those values. Values of togetherness, values of working together, for the common good, values of giving each other hope. Komanso china chimene ndaona miyezi yapitayi ndaona chikhalidwe china chache chimene ine sinaone kuphwanyirana katundu, kuonongerana minda, kutukwana, tolerance is no longer there. This is how a society becomes broken. You know, I will be honest with you, Brian. I can never be part of violence. Singavumere chiziwawa, singavumere kunyozana, mendu kunyozana muziko muno. Something is seriously wrong.
So to answer my question, what were you doing in China?
The reason I was in China, Peking University, the University of Bambanawambiri, but they're going to say one of the leading universities in the world, also the Oxford of the East, the #1 university in China. Kumeneko ndipatsa mpata kunditana kuti ndikaphunzire economics kuti China inapanga bwanji kuti ikwanilitse prosperity for its people. Kuti ndiphunzire the issues of leadership, providing the leadership to drive Malawi in a way that we can achieve the dreams of our people, providing hope to our people. The the extent of the challenges is an issue of the courts, and we think we first of all the Constitutional Court, we said as a party we abide by the Constitutional Court ruling, and we respect the Constitutional Court ruling, but of course we also know that we appeal because there are certain aspects of the Constitutional Court judgment that will require refining so that we can actually have a process that leads to the next election.
Ntaimene anzana nali ku court, you were not here. Mwabwera, you wanted to be part of what was happening, issuing statements. Do you think you have been fair? Kwanza ramene they spent months kukadikirira milandu ku court in munali ku China. Kubwera, you want to be the star of the day.
It's not like that at all.
It's not like that?
No. The process of since the election, let me be frank with you.
Yeah.
It is not kuti I just disappeared. I've been following what's been happening throughout the whole process. This bit of China, I was invited to participate in the proceedings, and I said no, we don't have any evidence. It's not just about matter of going to court. Because makanga kuti mwana china chake chalakuita pamafunika maumboni zimene zimafunika umboni komanso in the process mukudziwa kuti behind the scenes pakhalaso discussions, many discussions behind the scenes makamaka nkhani ya mtendere kuonetsetsa kuti mdziko muno muli mtendere. We must maintain peace and stability, but let me also mention here kuti period imene tadusali sinali period yakuno pang'ono. Pamenena ndithu nthawi zina mundale umayenera kuvomereza kapena kugonja kuyika dziko lacho patsogolo osati kuyika dziko pa moto. Ine ndimakhulupirira kuti sizikanakhala bwino kuti tikukoleza moto mdziko muno. Mukudziwa kuti most of the violence zimene zachitika mdziko muno zinachitika kwambiri central region muno mulilongwe. This is what happened. Ambiri ataya katundu wawo, ambiri pakali pano economy yathu is affected. Ine sindimakhulupirira kuti ineyo I should be part and parcel of this. Twaona ndithu ena ataya miyoyo yawo, including a police officer who died in the line of duty. I don't think ineyo I want to be part of that. Koma ndithu we supported the process. Tinakhala phe nkhani ku koti tidikira chigamulo chinabwera poyera, and then we have to move forward. It's not kuti the chigamulo is the end of the world. This is the beginning of a process and an opportunity for Malawi.
Yeah, so after the judgment munatulutsa statement kunena kuti mugwirizana nazo zimene zachitika ku koti and that the country should move on. Then you side with DPP amene akuchita match against the same ruling.
Well, I don't think that is correct.
I've seen UDF members on the streets
Yeah,
with DPP
Yeah.
saying they are not in agreement. Ndichi gamuno chakuti-
well, if definitely we're in agreement with the Constitutional Court judgment.
So what are your members doing on the road?
I'll get that.
Yeah.
We're in agreement with the Constitutional Court judgment.
You are in agreement?
We're in agreement.
Okay.
We're in agreement with the judgment. No, let me put it this way. We respect the judgment. Let me qualify that. We respect the Constitutional Court judgment, but we're also saying that there are some areas that need further interpretation and further direction. That is why in Kenya, the Supreme Court, there are certain provisions of the judgment which would need to be refined. So we believe that the process is also before the Supreme Court to provide guidance, because Palimagab Sambi, which could also provide even a bigger crisis, constitutional crisis.
Gaps like what?
For example, you have a problem with respect to the terms of office. For the same constitution provides that the term of office of the president is 5 years, members of parliament is 5 years, and that they'll be elected concurrently. This needs further interpretation. You also have the same constitution where we are aware of the Supreme Court decision in the Jakwamba case on the issue of majority. I think we need to be very clear with respect to what that entails, because you have two different arguments, two views on that. It is also very important to understand the process, because 19th of May is only not far from now. And as we are at this stage, the state of readiness is not very clear as to whether we can actually hold those elections properly within the time frame we have. So these things require further refinement and other issues there. It is not that we're against it, we just think that there's need for refinement. There's also a need for ensuring that the process is one that brings national unity. And
So to answer my question, what are your members, UDF members, doing on the streets?
First of all, we are in an alliance with the Democratic Progressive Party. The members that are on the streets are not necessarily sanctioned to say go on the streets. They are free to join the colleagues.
You haven't sanctioned?
No. They are free to join the colleagues. It's not something that we've made. We've made it very, very clear that we stand by the Constitutional Court judgment. This is a position of the party.
Yeah, but certainly, Honorable Muluzi, your members cannot go on the streets with DPP members protesting the Constitutional Court ruling without your blessing.
Well, well, first of all, is it really the UDF protesting? I don't think so.
They are carrying placards saying they are not in agreement with the Constitutional Court ruling.
Yeah, as I said, there are certain aspects of that judgment that would require further refinement. So I would also be of the view that this is something that is before the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but
there's an appeal before the Supreme Court. I get what you're saying.
My question is, can your members go on the streets without you sanctioning?
Absolutely.
Without you sanctioning?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Without you
sanctioning? It's a very, very democratic party. I'll tell you that. UDF is a very democratic party. And part of it could be the excitement of the alliance. It's resonated very well with the members. But let me just add, let me tell you, Brian, perhaps you'd be interested to know why we've entered into an alliance.
We'll talk about the alliance in a moment. We'll talk about the alliance.
It answers your question.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay. But because we are moving away from the Constitutional Court ruling.
Yeah.
I want you to be candid with me. What are your UDF members doing on the streets? What are they doing? Yet you're saying you haven't sanctioned them.
Well,
where are they getting the mandate?
I don't think the UDF members are on the streets. I think we have had a situation, for example, in Mangochi.
Yeah.
We've had a situation, I don't know where.
In Blantyre?
Perhaps in Blantyre.
Yeah.
I think it's excitement of the alliance. I think it's the fact that we are together. Because let me be very frank and be honest.
Yes, if you can.
I don't think personally
that
anyone is against the idea of having fresh elections this year. I don't think anyone is against that. But I do believe that there is a Constitutional Court judgment, and you can also agree with me that there's an appeal process that is underway. And I think we're all going to respect the decisions of the court. I don't think anyone is not going to respect the decisions.
So the UDF members marching or protesting in Mangochi Blantyre, they haven't been sanctioned.
No,
by you as the president.
No, absolutely not. But I think
so who has sanctioned?
I think it's most.
They look very organized. They are in brand new attire.
No, I don't think it's brand new.
You can see the brand new attire.
No,
who is financing them?
No, I think it's spontaneous. It's much more spontaneous. I think it's more to do with the alliance itself rather than the constitutional court judgment. We have made a statement as a party in terms of our position on the constitutional court judgment that we support. We abide by the court judgment. We abide by the court decisions, and we have not changed. And I'm on record now.
Are you between a rock and a hard place?
No, not at all.
Because soon after the judgment, you said we are in agreement.
Yes.
We welcome it.
Yes.
Then months, weeks down the line, you are saying we have questions.
No, we are very much abiding by the constitutional court judgment. Let me give an example.
Yeah.
You saw the members of parliament in parliament voting in favour of the provisions that have been provided by the constitutional court. You saw that members of parliament were sanctioned by the National Executive Committee of the party to say we are going to abide by the constitutional court judgment. So even the judgment, we have moved, even in parliament, to abide by the constitutional court judgment. Whatever is happening outside is simply politics. I mean, this is politics now. We're heading towards a possible election in a few months' time. And I think it's just a state of readiness, and I think it's a show of political power that these two parties are forced to reckon with, and that we're going to fight these elections together. I don't think in any way those the assembly of the two parties represents that we are against the judgment. I don't think in its entirety, because there is a process if indeed the other parties aggrieved, and that is to go to the courts, and they have done that through an appeal. But the position of the UDF is that we are abiding by the constitutional court judgment, and we abide by the orders of the court, including the Supreme Supreme Court judgment that will be made.
But the party,
determination of
the party you are dining together with,
yes,
is not in agreement with what you are saying.
Well, as I said, we voted different ways.
Yes.
We voted differently. We went to Parliament, for example, and we voted separately. And that's where I want to emphasize, where we think the UDF plays a greater role, in that it comes in this alliance with an alternative voice. That's why I said it's extremely important that we explain why we have entered into an alliance and why we think this will be beneficial for Malawians.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's take a break. We'll be back with you in a moment.
Thank you.
In case you're just joining us, you are watching Times Exclusive on Times Network. My name is Brian Banda. I'm joined by the Right Honorable Atupele Muluzi, President of the United Democratic Front. We'll take a short break. We'll be back momentarily.
I love brilliant green on my walls. I love signal red, sweet lime, electric blue. I just love golden yellow.
You get all that and more at Rainbow Paints. Imagine a water-based paint that is water resistant. Imagine a paint that is absolutely washable to remove dirt. And it guarantees you 10,000 cleaning scrubs over its lifespan without losing its luster. There can only be one paint that does just that, and that paint is acrylic sheen. Get yours today at all leading hardware stores. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind. Part of the deal.
If you are just joining us, welcome aboard. This is Times exclusive, airing on Times Network. I'm joined by the Right Honorable Atupele Muluzi, President of the UDF. Welcome back to the other half of the program.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Can you define what you're doing with the Democratic Progressive Party?
First and foremost, let me say, I found the current situation we're in is one that I can describe as a crisis. We have a crisis in the country. It's a deep crisis. It's affecting our national unity. It's affecting the stability of the country. It's also affecting our economy very badly. Businesses are failing, and there are many things that are going wrong. I believe the solution to Malawi is if all leaders have to communicate and all leaders have to talk and find a way and a solution. We need to find a political solution to the problems that we are faced with. Now, with respect to the alliance, we know that the Constitutional Court has ordered that the next election should be based on 50+1 in their interpretation of the Section 82 of the Constitution with respect to majority. And therefore, as we're moving towards the next election, alliances may be necessary in order to enhance national unity. And when we looked at the political parties in terms of which party UDF can best align with, let me say the number one issue for the UDF was the issue of tolerance, democratic tolerance. I must tell you that the last few months, if there is something that really has cemented the legacy of President Atupele Mutarika, is the issue of tolerance, political tolerance. We have seen the last 8 to 9 months a leader that has been restrained, allowing the democratic process, the democratic protests to take place, which is unheard of in Africa. He never used his authority as president. And that's a level of tolerance that has made me see Professor Atupele Mutarika as a leader that is democratic, that is tolerant. Additionally, leading up to the 2019 elections, I was a member of his cabinet, challenging his position as president, and he never fired me. In fact, we attended functions together. That's a level of tolerance. It's not just myself, but we saw this, there were 3 of us in the same cabinet, vying for the office of president, which included the vice president. And that level of tolerance is something that I think needs to be understood, because I've often questioned that. And in my interaction with him, I asked this question as to why he has been so tolerant. And his usual response is to make sure that the country remains united. We have our differences, but there are ways of resolving our differences in this country, but we have to be united. And part of the other reason is that, as you know, I was a member of the cabinet for 5 years, and there was a reason why I joined cabinet, in order to continue with the stabilization of the economy. We have made gains, but all that is at risk now because of the political situation.
So what are the terms of this agreement?
The terms of the agreement are that we would like to see change happen in Malawi. This is the bottom line. We're saying things must change.
Change happening to you or Malawi?
The change must happen in Malawi. We would like to see.
So who is the major beneficiary of this agreement?
We hope to
the Muluzi family?
No, I'm talking about change in Malawi. It's not about individualism.
Because people are saying you are the sole beneficiary of this agreement.
In what?
Why are you going in agreement or in alliance with the Democratic Progressive Party?
We believe that although Malawi is in a crisis, during a period of crisis, you can also use it as an opportunity to bring about change in a country. Right now, there are fundamental things that we can change. And we believe that the first thing that we must do is to change our institutions. We need to build on our institutions. You asked me about China. China's tremendous story, phenomenal story, which is probably the greatest story of our generation, came about by building strong institutions of government that are there to deliver for the people. We have to build strong institutions of government. We wasted 3 years, 5 years of reforms. We had the civil service reforms that were there.
You're not answering my question.
I'm answering your question.
No, my question is, what have you agreed with President Mutharika?
We have
A
agreed.
cabinet position?
No.
A second vice president role, as we hear?
Brian, this is not.
Do you want to answer these questions that I'm asking?
This is where we have a problem in Malawi. The issue of individualism, the issue of saying, that is not Atupele.
So it's not about Atupele.
If it is true that I'm for a position, then why did I stand at the last election? I could have chosen to say, I want a position in government. I'm not standing these elections because I want to look after myself. Politics is about driving change for Malawians. This is not about position. I'm not holding any position. But we are saying, in this moment in time, Malawians would like to see a change. They would like to see issues that they're worried about. They're worried about nepotism. They're worried about tribalistic.
So if you're worried about,
they're worried about. They're worried about corruption.
Yeah, if you're worried about all those things that you're talking about,
yes,
is the DPP the best partner?
We believe.
Is the DPP the best partner?
We believe.
Yes.
In the 9 months, when you look around, let me explain this reason.
Yeah.
In the 9 months, we have seen a level of tolerance on the part of Professor Atupele. For us, we are a democratic party. You must remember, there was a political party in this country that did not want democracy. They did not want it. We fought for democratic change. The president of the DPP has demonstrated to us in the UDF that he is a Democrat. And that is a fundamental point. The second point is the willingness to bring about reforms. You know very well, we wasted an opportunity in the last 5 years. Civil service reforms was provided, and we had an opportunity to build effective and strong institutions of government, and it was wasted. The only reforms that actually took place was the changing
of my question.
I'm answering your question.
Yeah, but my question is, if you're worried about nepotism,
yes,
corruption,
yes,
and other matters that you're talking about,
yes,
is the DPP the best partner to end this issue? Because the problems you are raising,
yes,
people are saying they have come from the DPP government.
I think they're deep-rooted.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the political parties that are in existence right now,
yeah,
that we have to compare with, issues of nepotism, tribalism are still there. It's very deep-rooted now. Even if we choose party X or party Y,
yeah,
they are there. You find one party saying, Ifeyo ndijibani cha kwakut, Ife ndijibani cha kwakut. It is there. You also have to look at the lead, the problem. If you look at the lead.
Certainly, it's not the Malay Congress Party that is in power. It's not the Malay Congress Party that Malawians are worried about corruption. It's not UTM that Malawians are worried about nepotism.
Yes, but the danger is once they get to power, then we see a different face. The problem we have is that when you look at the leaders themselves, I have a very good rapport with all the
why didn't you join the Malay Congress Party, for example? I saw your picture on social media with Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. What were you doing with him?
I have deep respect for President of Malay Congress Party, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. I equally have respect for my brother, Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima. But let me explain.
Yeah.
The UDF is a democratic party. We come from a very different history. We believe in democracy. We believe in respect for rule of law. There is also a problem. The biggest challenge. Let me explain.
I'm listening.
There's a challenge.
The question is,
there's a challenge. The leader. When you look at the leader, that's the problem in Malawi. When you look at the leader, you also need to look at who is surrounding the leader.
Okay.
And that's where the problems come in. That's I came in. If you remember, in 2013, we had a huge crisis in Malawi. Big crisis. I had stood up on the agenda for change. I had been arrested, put in jail, and people were chanting. The youth were chanting about the agenda for change. But do you know what I did? I took my personal interest aside and said, let me help President Joyce Banda as president bring stability to the country. And I was appointed economic planning minister and pushed for the economic recovery plan that allowed, I guided the process that allowed resumption of direct budget support to Malawi and brought confidence. And then I said, I've done my job for Malawi, I'm now going to fight an election. That is the spirit that we need in Malawi. It was not about, let me make President Joyce Banda fail, therefore I look good. It's about delivery.
Okay.
So when I look at the leaders, let me give you an example. You have the reforms. The reform effort was given with full authority to reform the entire civil service. In the history of Malawi politics.
I understand.
In the history of Malawi
Yeah,
politics,
yeah.
there have only been 2 vice presidents in our history that were given full authority over our civil service. Former President Justin Muluzi, and that's a very powerful position, by the way, and the current Vice President, Dr. Saulus Claus Chilima, reform the entire civil service. That, to me, is the engine of economic
You're not
development.
answering my question. I asked you a question. What were you doing at Chakwera's residence?
If
you knew you would partner with the Democratic Progressive Party.
look,
because that weeks after that, we saw you at State House.
Yes.
So what were you doing? Were you upping your game?
No. I was invited.
Using Dr. Chakwera.
I was invited by Dr. Chakwera.
To do what?
To meet. And leaders are invited to meet. We're invited to meet. And we have to be talking. I was invited by Dr. Lazarus Chakwera to meet with him. And the issue was to do with the unity moving forward, post the judgment. But, of course, in those discussions, one can make a proposal to say, could we think about working together? And it's up to not necessarily me, but it is up to my National Executive Committee of the party to make a decision. And the UDF, when it looked at all the options, it said the best option for the UDF is this one, because it makes sense in terms of stability of the country. It makes sense in terms of the direction that we want to take. And I think this is a great opportunity for change. And I want to reiterate, and I want to talk about that change, because that's what we believe in. We have to drive change.
I have heard you. What about assertions that are saying you have been promised big things? I talked about being a cabinet minister. People are even talking about you becoming the second vice president before the fresh pause. How true are these allegations?
If that was the case, then I would have been appointed already. If that was a condition, I would have been appointed already. I am saying we would like to drive change. In Malawi today, there are deep-rooted societal problems that require us to address. Number one is the issue of the issues that Malawians are worried about. Malawians want a good life. Everybody wants a good life.
You also want a good life.
Every Malawian wants a good life.
You also want a good life.
Yes, every Malawian is frustrated that things are not working. The economy is not moving for them. Things are not doing well. Look, I'm better off. I have businesses I can run. I can look after my family. I can feed up my family. I can send them to good schools.
What about?
I don't need.
What about the issue of running mate?
No,
is it one of the conditions?
No, it's not.
That you pay President Mutharika
it is about
in the coming
how
polls.
we can use the current situation.
Are you hearing my question?
The problem, Brian.
It's a simple, straightforward question.
Yes, it's very straightforward. But
is it true that one of the conditions that you have joined the DPP alliance is that you would want to partner President Mutharika as his running mate?
It is not one of the conditions.
It is not?
It is not one of the conditions. I am explaining to you the conditions. One thing you must understand, the problem with Malawi today is people want things for themselves. When we talk about change, people are not passionate about change. Things are not moving because of individualism. That's the problem. If you look at me and my track record, I will show you, and time again I've proven to Malawians, it is not about me having a position or me benefiting anything out of any position. It has never been like that. It is about sacrificing, being able to say, inebola ndigonje, koma zinthu ziende. That's where the problem is. If you see, even people are failing to agree today, because they don't think about the country. You know, it is very difficult. I have had political capital in this country that I have sacrificed in order to push this country forward. And when I talk about Malawi, I mean it because it's a passion, it's deep in me. When I'm saying the conditions that we have brought to the president and the DPP is change. We would like this to be changed. Institutional reforms. There must be changes at the Malawi Electoral Commission, for example. There must be changes at the ADMAC. There must be changes at TEVET. There must be changes in the police because public law and order, public trust has been eroded. We must deal with the issue of corruption decisively. We must deal with the issue of jobs for young people.
Yeah, but you were with President Mutharika in the past five years.
Absolutely.
As a cabinet minister.
Absolutely.
Why didn't you make changes in this area?
I did my part.
Yeah.
I played my part. I worked in cabinet, worked very hard. In my small part, I did my part. But obviously, you know, you've got to understand the power dynamics. Most of the issues that you're seeing that are coming out came at the cabinet table. Most of the issues. Some of my colleagues were sitting at the cabinet and there were great ideas in terms of how we move the country forward. But there were others that were not passionate about it. They speak highly about change, but when they're given an opportunity to drive that change, nothing happens.
So you're willing.
And I'm talking about, giving an example. The moment that Malawians lost out was on civil service reforms. Had we put in a situation where Ndulole Kugonja, Ziko Libange benefit, I'm telling you today, the fundamental changes that would have taken place in our civil service would not be having the problems we're having today.
You're willing to go in an alliance where you are not a beneficiary of any sort.
And the beneficiary must be Malawi. And I'll tell you, I'll be the proudest person in this country, even if I don't have any position. But I see Malawi driving in the right direction. Malawi that is united.
And you think that drive can come by partnering with Democratic Progressive Party?
I think it's an opportunity. I really believe it is an opportunity.
What about?
And we're already seeing some changes that are starting to happen.
Changes like what?
Well, we've seen a reversal, for example, on policies. We're seeing emphasis on the vision for the future, Vision 2063. We're now seeing the issue of job creation cropping up. How do we improve entrepreneurship? And we think we have a big argument to bring to the table about how we can empower the youth.
What about assertions that people are saying on social media? And I believe that you follow.
I'm very active on social media.
I have seen. I don't know if you writing it or your heads. Right? You write all those things.
Yes.
What about people are saying Atupele aufuna kuteteza banja lao, afuna kuteteza bambo wake. People are saying that on social media. You're making all these decisions to protect the Muluzi legacy. And when you tell me you don't mind to be a sole beneficiary of this, people have problems understanding that.
Brian,
yeah,
I've been in politics now for over 16 years. 16 years. Starting from the bottom as a member of parliament, backbencher, not frontbencher. I've worked my way up in the political space in this country. I did not just come overnight. It has been a long process. I have been arrested. I have been criticized. It is part of leadership.
You have made it easy. You have made it easy.
Oh no!
By the fact that you have been a son of
it has been. I have to work twice as hard. Than any other politician.
What about people saying you have gotten everything on silver platter?
Brian,
yeah.
I've had to work twice as hard than anybody else in politics. Any mistake I make is amplified. I've had to make serious sacrifices. I have been perhaps the most criticized politician, and I'm proud of it because that's what builds character, strength, confidence. I have been through the process. I did not inherit the leadership of the party, as others would like you to believe. I had to fight my way. The ship moved from Dr. Bakiri Muluzi to Honorable Friday Jumbe. From Honorable Friday Jumbe to late Nga Ntaf. I had to fight my way. to the convention in 2013. I've only served 5 years as leader of the party. Only 5 years. In 2013, I was elected leader of the party. And that I had to fight. I went up and down the country, campaigning for that position. And the only problem we have is that I am the son of Dr. Bakiri Muluzi. And unfortunately, I cannot change that. But I can also not change my passion for Malawi. The only thing that I can tell you, yes, I was inspired by Dr. Bakiri Muluzi from a very young age. I cannot deny that. He inspired me to serve Malawians, to serve my nation, to love my nation. It is something, an inspiration that comes in.
So it's not the senior Muluzi driving all this we are seeing, including the alliances. Are you your own man?
Right.
Are you your own man?
Then you don't know me. Those that have worked with me will tell you who Atupele Muluzi is. The problem we have, unfortunately, is that people don't want to accept Safuna who Vomen is.
So it's not about protecting. It's not about protecting your father.
Let me give you an example.
It's not about protecting your father.
Let me give it.
Are you hearing me?
It's not about protecting anybody,
including your father.
Protecting him on what basis?
I don't know.
Exactly. You should be able to say to me, protecting him what? You see, the problem we have in Malawi is God sometimes instills a calling in some people to do God's work, whether in politics or in other fields. Some people are given a talent. Oh, Atupele, if I fail, they say it's me. If I succeed in doing something great, it's not me, but it must be somebody else. If I make it, so God has allowed people to see the process. I have gone through failure, not failure. I've gone through defeat because I don't believe it's failure. I've gone through losses. I've gone through defeat. I've gone through a process of difficulty. But it's how you rise up that really shows your leadership credentials. And here, it's probably God's way of showing Malawians to say, look, this is a young man that is really passionate about his country, that is focused in driving change. I'm being recognized elsewhere as a leader. As I told you, I was at Peking University with some of the finest professors in the world, saying, wow, you are exactly on the right path. You're doing exactly what leadership entails. Don't give up. Be strong. Be focused. You'll get there in the end. Leadership is a very, very difficult path.
You lost your seat as a member of parliament.
Absolutely.
How does that augur well with what you're doing right now?
I
think you have the political muscle?
Absolutely.
When you lost an election as a member of parliament?
Well, first of all, the election, I doubt very much about the credibility of these elections. Brian, I doubt. We all know that the credibility of the entire election was thrown in doubt with the Constitutional Court judgment. We know that some crazy things happened in these elections. Nevertheless, I accepted the position of what happened in Machinga Northeast. I accepted it. But for me, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. That was the best.
You failing?
Oh, for me, it was not a failure.
Okay, it's what?
It is a loss.
Okay. So you're losing.
Yeah. Okay. It's the best thing that happened to me. Because it allows you to review things differently, to understand certain aspects that you need to start working on and improving on. In life, all of us in life, and it's a fact of life, you have ups and downs. Nobody goes through life on a clean plain sailing. It is hard. You have ups, you have downs. But what is critical is when you're down, is how you learn from that, pick yourself up, and then move.
Was it a unanimous decision to move into this partnership as a party? We didn't see the Secretary General at the signing ceremony. Does that tell us that all is not well in UDF camp?
No, the Secretary General was in Lilongwe. Unfortunately, he fell ill the night before we were supposed to go for the signing ceremony, and he had to excuse himself. And he's now made a full recovery. And we were together at the Bingu International Conference Center when we were launching the Vision 2063 together with the President. So in terms of the National Executive Committee, this was a matter that was unanimous. Well, not we may have, in a democracy, you cannot have unanimous, but it was a majority decision by the NEC to say, this is a direction, considering the options that were there. And this is what a democracy is all about.
We saw you,
Brian,
we saw,
you know, in
we
a
saw,
democracy.
we saw you donating items to China
Yeah.
on COVID-19. Who are you trying to impress?
I think donation is not the right word to use. I think that was more my contribution, because I was also making a very symbolic statement to all Malawians and to the rest of the world that we are too part of the global family. COVID-19 or the coronavirus is not just a China problem. It is not a China problem. It's a global problem. It is just that in China there are more cases, but it's a global problem that China is leading in the fight, and we have to demonstrate that we're part of the global family by contributing to this fight of COVID-19. We're not immune from it. It could come to Malawi. We're at risk of this happening, especially as we move towards the winter season. It could happen. But what was extremely important is that I was demonstrating our Malawian culture of umuntu, of when we see anzathu ali pamavuto kandi olemera kapena ndiopeza posaife timatenga kanga jepe and say pepani, we are feeling your pain, we're with you. China has contributed a lot to this country. We have mutual friends based on mutual partnership. It is always important in their culture, but you see a lot of similarities, by the way, between their culture and our culture. Iwo amakhulupirira kudakhala pamavuto abale amabwera kuzatondoza. They believe that. So I also spent months there. As you know, they hosted me. I understood their culture. I began to understand China and the Chinese people. And because I understand their culture, it was expected of me. I have many friends there to go and say goodbye.
As we finish our discussion tonight, Malawians have been protesting, sometimes against this current administration. I'll ask you an area question that I raised with you. Are you sure, Mr. Muluzi, this is the right way to go, partnering with DPP?
Absolutely. I'm very sure.
No regrets whatsoever?
No regrets, and I believe this is the right decision for the country, and I believe Malawians will begin to see the changes that will benefit them. And I see this as an opportunity for change. In a crisis, that's the best time to bring about change. And I'm very, very confident that we can begin to start pushing for the things that Malawians are worried about to change.
There are many Malawians watching us tonight, others members of your party. I want you to take a minute. What would you say to them tonight on the future of your party? Is DPP absorbed now by DPP? Are you going as each one's force, or are you going to be eaten by the DPP? What's the future of the UDF?
I think the issue here...
And I want you to look at that country.
Yeah, I think, well, of course, to Malawians who are out there, we are now in a different political environment where we have to have majority confirming the president. This is a 50+1 scenario. And therefore, alliances will be inevitable. We are now in an era where political parties have to work together. It's inevitable. It cannot be any longer one person, one party, one leader governing alone. And in manena patayiti sana kuti tiyenera kukwenda limodzi tonsengera pamodzi osayangana nkhope osayangana ntundu osayangana chipembedzo. We have to move in creating a new Malawi for all. And what I have to tell you is that I think this is a big opportunity to join forces, to start articulating a new direction for Malawi. Malawi akufuna moyo wabwino, akufuna kusikona kuti zinthu zisinthe. And I believe that together we can drive this change for the benefit of all Malawi.
Right Honorable Atupele Muluzi, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, on that note, we conclude this intriguing hour of our conversation with Right Honorable Atupele Muluzi, President of the United Democratic Front. My name is Brian Banda. From all of us in Lilongwe, thanking you for joining us tonight, and goodbye.
I love brilliant green on my walls. I love signal red, sweet lime, electric blue. I just love golden yellow.
You get all that and more at Rainbow Paints. Imagine a water-based paint that is water resistant. Imagine a paint that is absolutely washable to remove dirt. And it guarantees you 10,000 cleaning scrubs over its lifespan without losing its luster. There can only be one paint that does just that, and that paint is acrylic sheen. Get yours today at all leading hardware stores. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind. Part of the deal.